Excellent introduction tonight, but John is ripping the mic away from me, sadly.
As if I even could. Okay, well, I did want to do this long introduction. I've been practicing for a long time on this, but several things. He has the best sinkers. If you buy them tonight, you are getting the best price by 20, 30, 40% with no shipping. If you don't buy them, to get him to come here, I said, I'll buy anything they don't. So I would appreciate a lot of people buying. The other thing is, I lie a lot too. I've looked at every one, I would guess, of his videos. His education is phenomenal. I thought I knew how to tie the mortician's rig and a few other things, but I learned a lot from him. Thank you, Chip, for doing this.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I'm sorry. I am an open book. If you want to know, you ask the question, I'll answer it. Yes, sir. Cocoa Beach is where the Pompano are at right now. There's a couple big schools in Melbourne. And to be honest with you, they just came out of the river in Melbourne to hit the beach side, so you haven't seen a lot of Pompano reports because of that. They've been in the rivers. The boat guys, the commercial guys have been catching them in the river. And I'm going to say this is going to be the best year for huge Pompano. They're catching 4-pound Pompano and 4 to 5 pound Pompano in the rivers right now, and they're coming back. We had, I'm going to do a little shameless plug, but at Little Talbot Island, the Bruno rig helped the guy catch a 6.27 pound Pompano on the way down. The next day, another 6-pounder was caught. How many 6-pounders have you heard of caught? Not very many, right? There was 2 caught on the way down. No one's catching fish down there, right? Because they run into the rivers, if it was Indian River or Melbourne. So they're coming back. They'll be coming on their way in the next couple weeks. They're going to be big. So I think the Florida records it will be caught this year. Just because of last year they weren't caught down south very many. The commercial guys aren't really on them. Joey Antoinelli, he's catching 12 to 15 fish right now. Normally he's catching 40 to 50 fish. They're nice fish, but they're quality fish, but they're not quantity. So we're going to have a great fishery for Pompano. The whiting are here right now, just so you guys know. Bo caught a nice 16-incher today, right here. So that's going to be big. I did 2 weeks ago on the front side of Little Talbot. I did 26 whiting, all real nice fish. Right when you walk over, go to the north a little bit. So the fish are here. One of the questions was this month. I think you guys are catching black drum, right?
Yeah.
That's
March and April.
March and April, yeah. So we're going to talk a little bit about black drum fishing, but any other questions? All right, so I'll introduce myself. Chip Brundage, the sinker guy. Started fishing 11 and a half years ago here at American Beach. I didn't know, one of my buddies, Floyd Futch, my wife coached his daughter. He said, I want to take you fishing. And I said, okay. So 11 and a half years ago, I went fishing for my first time. We caught 7 whiting, 1 redfish. And he said that was a hell of a day. And I said, yeah, okay. So I came back to American Beach for 3 years. I never knew you could fish any other beach. I lived in Jacksonville, but I drove up here to American Beach because I loved American Beach because there wasn't a lot of people. It was easy fishing. I didn't have to have a lot of different baits, and there was always fish there. Dirty, clean, there was always fish. Now I travel all the way to the Outer Banks, all the way to Jupiter, all the way to Alabama, fishing, chasing the Pompano. So Pompano whiting, redfish. Larry and his wife have talk about Black Drum. We've had some fun times on the beach, right, Larry? And we're going to talk a little bit about structure, talk a little bit about what creates and why fish navigate to certain areas. A lot of people, how many people can throw 100 yards? Right? If you can't throw 100 yards, there's two reasons. I'm going to step up here. There's two reasons that you can't throw 100 yards. You haven't practiced enough, you don't have the right rod, or you're getting a little older, right? So you don't have to throw 100 yards. Black drum, redfish right now, on the when everybody knows where that little dip drops, that's where they're going to be cruising. When this water warms up a little bit, about 4 more degrees, those black drum will be right in that little in close. The redfish will be in close. So just understand you don't have to cast a mile. Now Larry knows that I can cast a mile and I can put it on in a trash can, but sometimes you need to put it where the fish are going to be running. So we're going to talk about super highways. How many people have heard Noel Kuhn speak? Noel's good. He's a really good, knowledgeable fisherman, and he can really teach it. So he calls it 95. I call it the super highway because I grew up in the Midwest. So to get anywhere, so the super highway is where all the fish are going to run. So one of the big things with Floyd Fudge told me is I didn't make Sputnik sinkers the whole time that I fished. For 5 years, I fished 5 days a week to learn how to fish. No one really taught me. I wasn't able to get Larry to share anything with me because Larry was pretty competitive, 11 years ago. And Noel wouldn't share a lot, and there wasn't the forums that we have now. There wasn't people just giving away information. That's why I say, if you have the question, I'll answer. If you don't have the question, I'm not going to answer, okay? So there are a lot of questions that are out there. But Floyd said, if you use a Sputnik sinker, you're next. You will know where you cast it, and then you'll know where the fish are. So if you cast and you remember where you cast, every time, if you can't remember 2 rods or 3 rods or 4 rods, then fish 2 rods or whatever rods so you can remember where you cast, and then strategically place it so you learn where the waves are, or where the superhighway is. And we cover that by the waves, right? So we have a wave breaking on this side and a wave breaking on this side. Everybody knows what I'm talking about. And then in the middle, it doesn't break. That's one of my favorite spots to fish. If it's for big pompano, big black drum, big redfish, I call it a corner. I don't know, what do you guys call it, Lyndon? Edge, okay. Because I didn't go through all of the training that everybody else has, I have different lingo. So right on the corner, everything's getting sucked around the corner. One side, the other side, everything's getting pulled out. So if you're fishing for redfish and black drum and pompano, they like to get around that corner. So on that corner, right on the front side of that, it goes like this. Does everybody understand that? Well, if you ever walk in and those fish, those whiting, if you ever put whiting or pompano, they'll come and try to hide themselves underneath that corner, that little edge. So if you can throw at that edge, those fish are a lot of the times there. That's where I got those ones the other day. It was right at that edge. So I knew where the edge was, so those fish they'll go in there and run through there. So that's a big point to be able to catch a lot more fish, is just knowing where they are. So the Sputnik gives you the ability to know where you cast, to eliminate the ability to have to sit there and not catch fish. So does that make sense to everybody? I am the best. Every one of my friends that fish with me said, you're the best at putting it back where the fish were, right where you caught it. Like if it's 10 feet, I put it 10 feet. If it's 100 yards, 130 yards, I put it back right there. So I have an innate ability to remember where each rod was because I don't fish a lot of rods. And then all I'm doing when I'm fishing is I'm checking different areas where the fish are going to run until they bite. If they don't bite, there's no fish, right? Yes, sir.
So you're talking about checking all the continuing out there. How often do you move down the beach?
That's a great question. I have the cheat code. Anybody know what the cheat code is?
15 minutes and you're gone, I don't know.
Larry, I taught Larry this a couple years ago. It's ghost shrimp. So if I have ghost shrimp, we're not talking 5 minutes, we're not talking 2 minutes, we're talking 45 seconds. They're there or they're not there. I run Talbot a lot and I use ghost shrimp. When I find them, I'm going to crab knuckles, shrimp, or clams. But when I find them, I'm not just continuing to throw ghost shrimp. Everything eats ghost shrimp, everything eats shrimp, but the big pompano will eat a big crab knuckle before a little one can eat the big crab knuckle. So trying to catch that bigger fish. A 12-inch fish is a great pompano, but a 17-inch fish is a different fish than a 12-inch fish, a pompano. So that's what I do. So I use, how many people will have fish with ghost shrimp? Okay, so we need to introduce more of you. It is, ask the question. Where are the ghost shrimp, right? So on all flat beaches, so there has been people that are on social media, influencers, that think they understand. They don't understand. They're not on the water enough. Ghost shrimp do not go anywhere. We have them back here in the rivers. I've picked them up in the rivers, and over in the Panhandle, you get them in the bays there. Anybody know where Jacksonville University is? Clear back in. I pumped them at Jacksonville University. So they're all over. The problem is you can't find them. When the sand is really soft, the sand just fills the hole in. So when the waves are coming, it just fills the hole in. The beach has to be hard, super negative low. You can catch them on any beach, on a super low, super negative. They're there, you just have to go find them. So they're a little bitty hole about the size of my finger, and the ghost shrimp pump, you can pump them, and it does make fishing a lot easier, but you still have to throw what the bait that they're looking to look for. Okay, so shrimp, obviously, a ghost shrimp will catch a black drum, but a crab knuckle is going to catch a bigger black drum. Does that make sense? So, and sometimes they won't eat the ghost shrimp. So most of the time they will. So that's the cheat code. Any long beach, after not Fernandine or not here at American Beach. Well, American Beach can get long, right? If we don't beach renourish it again. So you can get them on American Beach. Okay, you can if the sand is long, the beaches are soft, big waves. It makes it harder because it stirs up the sand and they fills in the holes as it comes back out. Okay, so closer to low tide, longer beaches, Huguenot, Little Talbot. Obviously, those are longer beaches, right? So those will work. If you come up towards the jetty, close to the jetty, you're going to be able to find some too, where it's hard beach, where it's going out. Yep. So those are all places that you can find them. I love it when I'm on the beach and somebody says they're not there, and I just say, "You're right," because I'm not gonna argue with you because you just told me that they're not there. So, but they're there. They're there all the time. It doesn't matter. It's just the sand doesn't allow you to find them sometimes. It's kind of like finding sand fleas. They're not always there, but there's a lot of them where you're at. And there's other places, the high impact beaches, Peters Point, you're gonna find more sand fleas there because the sand's softer, they can dig in easier. They're not gonna be on the hard beach. So because they can't dig in and hide, right? So does that help some people? Yes, sir.
Even with this cold weather, are there still sand fleas?
No sand fleas in the cold weather. They do go deeper. They're still here, but they go deeper. They do transport a little bit, but they just go deeper, so you can't find them. Yeah, you're not going to dig that deep. They go pretty deep. So, ghost shrimp are always here. So when somebody says there's no ghost shrimp, they're gone. They are 4 inches down on every beach. When somebody says they have to, if you watch Hey Skipper and he tells you have to go this far to get a ghost shrimp, down in the sand, it's wrong. They're 4 inches. Watch my video. It doesn't matter if you're here, if you're in Matanzas, if you're down, it doesn't, they're 4 inches down. They're in a cove. So, yes, sir.
Is there a special way you have to rig ghost shrimp?
To be honest with you, the only way to rig them, we actually came up with, well, we didn't come up with the product, we just made it better. Bait thread, Miracle Thread, you guys heard of it. Miracle Thread is thick. We had this produced, and it's about half the diameter of the Miracle Thread. So it doesn't cut through your shrimp. The Miracle Thread just cuts through the ghost shrimp so bad. And it cuts through your regular shrimp too. So I had it made for me, but we share it. Because I was tired of using the bait thread that was not very good. So don't use colors, don't use the red, don't use the yellow, we have that on sale today for $2. You'll never find it cheaper than that. So.
Yes, sir. Because of conflict, it's been a couple of years since I've been to an old pool seminar, but he always says, what I was going to do the seminar, he says, don't bother about tides, go fishing at sunup.
Who said that, you said?
Noel Coon said.
No, yeah. When you go fishing, when you can go fishing. How many people can go fishing every day?
Can?
Yeah. Yeah. So you're gonna go. The more you go, the more. I call it the more you go, the more luck you have. I fished 5 days a week for 5 years. I was pretty lucky. People say that. I was part of the Florida Surf Anglers, and I fished a lot. Everybody else, Lyndon, he was going to work 5 days a week. I got lucky more. I caught more fish. I was able to fish a lot more. So. High tide, low tide, right? That's the question. Is that more the question? High tide, when's the best time to fish? I'm gonna say this, but don't take it wrong. Every place is different. Every beach is different. It could be a high tide beach where the fishing is good. American Beach, if you get there an hour before low, and you put it when the pompano are running, and you cast it to him right over the breaker. I did 34 pompano that far one day. I backed up, I put my spike a little farther because I couldn't cast that short. Right? So, but they were right there. They just right in there, low tide. When the water turned, that bite turned on. So that's American Beach. I only normally fished American Beach with shrimp and clams. I didn't fish blue crab on American Beach very much. I didn't have as much luck. I go to Little Talbot Island, I'm fishing blue crab like it's going out of style. But there's a lot more blue crab on Little Talbot Island, right? So I have a lot more of the ghost crabs. So I fish that a lot more. So now the question is where are you fishing, and I might be able to help you. Where do you fish?
I fish American Beach most of the time, but I also fish the state park in the south end.
Okay, south end, yeah. So your higher tide typically is a little bit better there, or on slack tide. When that tide switches to go the other way, typically you're gonna have a little bit better bite. Unless you're closer to the jetty, close to the rocks, and then it's all relative to when the fish are running. I will share this. The pompano, so north to south, the pompano, when the pompano are running down, going down south when the water gets cold, they're gonna come in the top of the river, and I probably shouldn't share this because it is getting recorded, but the pompano are gonna run on the right, the north side, and in any river system, they're gonna come in close. They're not gonna go, right across the river, it's too dangerous. So they're gonna run in and make sure, like Frogger, I remember you guys when you played Frogger, you had to kind of maneuver a little bit before you could go across so you didn't get hit. So they're gonna come in on the north side and they're gonna leave on the south side, okay? Now, they're coming back north. So they're gonna come in on the south end. So if you're fishing on the south end of, and they're gonna come in on the north end, if this is north, if this is the beach and I'm standing on the north side, they're gonna come in here and then go on the outside, like let's say Huguenot, they're gonna come in close at Huguenot, and then they're gonna go the front side and go out at Talbot, on the south end of Talbot. Does that make sense? So they're gonna be going north, and so sometimes people overcast the fish. So I was at Huguenot fishing the river. I know that they're coming in and coming in the river this side, on the top side, south side of Talbot, coming through. I know they're there. I have to cast 140 yards or 50, sometimes 160. Sounds crazy. But when it hit the water, the fish were there, the bite was on, you reel it in. But you never caught one in close because they hadn't ready to go out yet. There wasn't enough water for them to go all the way across and come around. Does that make sense? So if you're fishing in the inlets, that's how that fish comes. So they're gonna come close on, if you're fishing Little Talbot, let's say Little Talbot South End. Has anybody drove by there? Anybody drove by there today on the way home? The South End looked absolutely beautiful. It's flat sandbar. And I say this because that's one of the places I like to fish for black drum. Sandbars with the water coming in. That last year I couldn't get it on film, but I would cast. The water wasn't even I was on Talbot on the flat side on the north end, and the black drum were there, but I could cast. But I could see the black drum between my reel or my line and me. I could see them right there. So I had to literally back up and the water get to here. I would put my sinker here and wait for them to come up and eat. Because I was overcasting, I just kept overcasting. I did 10 black drum in 15 minutes. But they were turning sideways to eat the bait on the flats. Okay? When they're because there's ghost shrimp there, there's crabs there. So on that incoming tide, they were just turning sideways to eat, and you could see them. There was 200 of them, just turn sideways and run in when the wave came in to eat. So the flats, any of the flats, obviously it's the same as inshore, right? You go to the flats to catch some redfish and some black drum. So same thing. If you don't have a flat, you're not gonna catch redfish and black drum at 130 yards, not in front of the sandbar that's out there. Does that make sense? So if you're just max casting all the time and you want to catch a black drum or a redfish, it's probably not going to happen. Okay, so you need to strategically place your baits better, and typically in close, or if there's a sandbar and you can see the sandbar right in front of that sandbar, you have a better shot to catch a black drum or a redfish there, or in a big hole than you do anywhere else going forward. Any questions on that comment? How do I find the hole? I was there at low tide and I let the tide come in and I know where that hole is, so I put it back in the hole, right? So that's another one find a nice big hole, and if you know where it is, Otto and I were fishing at Little Talbot about 5 years ago, and we had a big hole that developed and a run out, and there was sand on the side. There was sand on that side, and the hole was probably 30, maybe 35 yards wide, but it was really deep. We literally were casting at each other into the hole, and we had 74 whiting in less than an hour before it pushed us off. So understand that those holes will hold a lot of fish. Yes, sir.
One more question. Size of bait, do you use a whole shrimp when you're fishing or every beach, or you use like a piece out your
A live shrimp, if it's under a popping cork, or I will use a live one whole, but I'll never use a whole one dead. I usually cut it about the size of that, or smaller, where you can go in one time and maybe come out the second time. If it's a small shrimp, we have small shrimp. The bait shops are only having small shrimp right now. What I'll do is I'll thread them, just right through, thread it on my hook. The number one thing is what you're trying to do is hide the hook. So hide the hook so the fish doesn't see it. Give yourself a better ability. Lyndon, can I ask what size hook you use? You're using one?
One or two.
1 and 2? 2-aught or smaller? You use any smaller?
I use it's a 1 or 2, or sometimes 1 aught or 2 aught.
Okay. I've went down to a 6. If I'm catching whiting, I don't recommend that. But I just put a little piece of shrimp. But if you're just whiting fishing, and you know they're there, 3 drop this far apart, on 2 inches with a number 6, you can catch whiting all day long. Similar style of a sabiki rig, right? With a little piece of shrimp, but you can hand make those, but very simple, yes.
When you make your mortician rig,
Yep.
what pound test line?
My mortician rig, how many people fish a mortician rig? It's my favorite rig. I will say it here, if you want to save more sinkers, you fish the mortician rig. If you want to throw some more off and give away some free money on other, if you're tying rigs, it's okay, but if you're buying rigs, it gets expensive when a bluefish comes through and bites your hook off. So the main line of mine, Paul Anderson would tie it with 65 mono. Paul Anderson threw harder than any man I've ever seen throw a fishing rod, and he would blow up 4 reels. He had 5. He'd have 1 left to fish with by the end of the day, the end of 4 hours, and he would throw it as far as a fish could never be out there. There's no fish where he'd throw it. They just didn't live out there. It was so far. That's one thing I learned about from Paul Anderson. Hey, make a heavy rig if you're going to throw hard. But I make mine out of 40 mono Suffolk Superior. I make my dropper is 30-pound fluorocarbon. The company is called Polymer. It's actually based here in Jacksonville, or actually based in Jacksonville. It is the thinnest line that I've found. It will not hold a toothy bluefish, but I'm not catching sharks and I'm not catching bluefish. I don't really care. If I do, I put 40-pound polymer, and that'll pull a fish in. But do not buy the 25. It breaks at 18 to 30, breaks at 34. But it's super thin, the thinnest that you'll ever find. So that makes sense. Paulos and Mortician would fish a 20-pound mono drop typically. I like a fluorocarbon drop when I am fishing for the pompano. Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Chip, when we're talking about 1-aught and 2-aught hooks, we're talking about the circle hooks?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't fish a 1-aught hook. I have big hands. I can't get a crab knuckle as well on a 1-aught circle hook as I can on a 2-aught. I fish crab knuckles 95% of the time, so I make my rigs with 2-aught. A bigger sand fleet is hard to get on a 1-aught, especially an eagle claw or a mustad. It has that little point coming in. It's hard to get a sand fleet or a crab in those. So if you're fishing shrimp, those are all fine hooks to use. That eagle claw is just inexpensive, and it works. So that's why I use that. I use the 2-aught. I'll fish a 1-aught if I'm fishing for whiting, and if I'm fishing with clams, I'll choose a 1-aught. But how many people used to fish with clams? How many people have had a lot of success with clams lately? Not really. Like 4 years ago? 4 years ago, man, you get a package of those clams, and you don't even have to have them fresh. Those pompano love those clams, but I caught pompano this year on clams. I'm hoping that comes back and we have a great bite with clams, but they haven't been working very well. Just so you guys know, for the last 4 years, I don't know why. If they're just not looking for it, I don't know. So maybe we're throwing ghost shrimp, so they're like, I don't know, I don't need a clam. So, any other questions?
How many rods do you usually bring out, and do you stagger the distances you're casting with your selection?
So obviously if you're fishing for black drum, some of you know where I fish a lot for black drum, and there's another place where I'm fishing in close. But I will bring two rods I can throw far and 2 rods I can consistently throw. If I'm on Little Talbot, I'm fishing 1 rod to start with to find them, 2 rods when we do find them, and if I get 3 rods, I'm lucky to even get it out. And my 4th rod is if I blow one, I'm a conventional fisherman, so if I blow one up, I have an extra. So I'm not one that goes and waits for the fish. I go try to find the fish. So I'm more of the hunting style versus the sit and wait style. Both work. When I first started, I was a weight fisherman. Now I'm more of a, since I own a business and I'm so busy, I got an hour or 2 hours to fish, I've got to go find them. I can't just sit there and wait all day for them, so I just go to try to find them. So I'm moving every 5 to 10 minutes. And some people won't do that, and that's okay. Justin Reed, how many people have watched his videos over in the Panhandle? Great guy. I spent 3 years with him, and he finally said, I was over there and I said, we sat for, I don't know, an hour, and I'm just like, their motto over there, just throw it out, the fish will find it. Just put a big float on it, the fish will find it. I mean, there's not enough food over here. I'm like, that's not how I cannot live this life. So there was 5 of us fishing, everybody had 4 rods, no bites. I'm like, I'm gonna go down here. I see something down here. And I found a little grass patch that was exposed, and there was a hole right in the front that we ended up catching 6 permit out of it and probably 45 pompano. And then there was, on the back side of that grass patch, there was at about 140 yards, there was a nice hole. And this is gonna get into marking, but I caught 50 plus pompano that day. We were tournament fishing, I couldn't get a big one. The guy 75 yards that way won it with an 18.5 inch pompano. I just couldn't get past the small ones. I had 15 inches all day, but we did 50, but I went and moved, and then I called the guys and they were like, oh no, we're gonna wait. I'm like, no, there's no waiting. The fish are over here, they're not coming your way. So when the big pompano come, we're gonna talk about marking, and the pompano will mark where the bait is. Has anybody heard that before? So Larry Finch is really good at catching fish in the same spot as they were the last time they were there, right? Anybody fished by Larry, and Larry beat you there, and then Larry's out just whooping them, and you don't know why Larry's whooping them, but Larry's putting it in the same spot every time, and Larry's bringing another one, and oh, Larry's got 2 more. Larry is really good at putting it back exactly where he found the fish. That's what makes Larry really good. And I'm watching Larry, fishing next to Larry. When the bite stopped, I created a way to get the bite to turn back on, and with a little bead on my hook. It just needed a little color. And the fish marked the spot, and if you give them a little encouragement, they'll move a little bit off the spot, but most of the time they stay in the same spot. So maybe the spot's the size of this carpet. Sometimes it's only this big. So those fish will just come and just start to spool around, because all of the other big pompano, when they're coming through, so the pompano coming from down south are going to mark the baits on the way. The big ones are going to mark the baits because they've been eating heavy and getting fat down south to make the migration to North Carolina or north to wherever they were born. So they're going to mark bait throughout. So the big ones are going to mark bait. When they mark bait, the other ones aren't looking for bait, they're looking for the marks. Does that make sense? So why is Huguenot Park always amazing? There's a bunch of ghost shrimp there. The bait's already marked, right? Varn Park is another one. The bait's already marked down there. Matanzas got no marks last year. Nobody hardly caught any fish on Matanzas last year, but Varn Park was hot because the sand fleas were marked at Varn Park. So when we come down, same thing. If how many people have fished in Villano? Anyone? There's an A-frame house that has a big ditch, and it always holds a lot of bait, but all the stuff gets sucked out. Well, there's a bunch of ghost shrimp there too at low tide, so it gets uncovered and it gets marked. And those fish are just coming to wait. When the tide gets in farther, they just come and find the marks. So that's why a lot of the times now they'll be traveling up and down the beach. So you can see the pompano bing, 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 bing down the fishing rods if there's a bunch of fishermen so you know which way they're going. If they passed you, I'm going to give you the secret. If they passed you 15 minutes and they passed you, you're probably not going to catch another one. They already went by. There might be another school come, right? But if I caught 3 of those fish going this way, I'd pack up my stuff. I'd go get in my truck and go a mile down the road, get out, and I would catch them again. I'd catch my six fish. But I could wait for 8 hours for them to come back, or I could just get up and go a mile down the road and try to beat them. So this is pompano, whiting, black drum. What other? In the migration, we'll just talk migration. Every structure has a turning point. So let's talk about American Beach. We have the jetty, then we have a pier, right? And then we have American Beach, and then we have the rocks, and then we have the river, right? Does everybody understand that? From Nassau Sound, we have a rock pile, we have American Beach, we have Peters Point where it turns and comes in, right? And then we have a little pier. Those pompano don't want to run underneath the pier. And if they're going back and forth between the jetty and the pier, they're going to just keep bouncing like this until they get run off of there, until they go around typically they go around the pier, okay? And then they're not going to go back around the pier unless back north until all of this they're going to feed here until they can't find enough food, and then they make the next move so we were touching the jetty, then we're to the pier, then we jumped, so we went from the pier to the rocks or into that little cove, right? So they're gonna stay in that little area, and then they're gonna bounce back, and they're gonna be just back and forth until they start to find food, and they're just gonna, if you've seen, I don't know how many people have ever seen it, but from the air, there are 100,000 fish going like this offshore. Pompano is pretty amazing to see. And there's some guys down south that they're sending videos of that, but it's not very often you see it, but they're just circles. Pompano, just big, 100,000 fish. So when those come in, they get pushed. So we have a big number of fish in that little general vicinity, and then boom, now we can really execute and catch a lot of fish at that time. And so now we got the rocks, and then we got Nassau Sound. We're going to come into Nassau Sound. If they come in, they're going to go across and then go to the Little Talbot. Okay, so that being said, now they'll come back if it's safe. But going across to Nassau Sound, there's enough sharks there that there are a lot of sharks there. So they're trying to avoid. That's why a lot of the times you're not finding a lot of pompano close to those rocks or anywhere close, because the sharks are hiding there too. So they're trying to bounce away and get away from all the danger. So now the black drum's a little bit different story. Black drum are going to hold in deep, big holes. They'll run into Nassau Sound and just sit under the bridge. How many people have caught a big one off the bridge? Yeah, there's some big ones underneath the bridge, but they're going to go underneath. But the ones you're going to eat, those aren't the ones you're going to eat. Those just go down deep in the holes, and you can pull those out. But that's not the type of fishing I really enjoy to do. Catching a 40-pound black drum. I mean, it's fun, but it's not for me. I want to catch something I can eat. And a black drum sandwich is really good.
We got about 5 more minutes, so any questions, now's the time.
Yes, sir.
2 questions. Is your position really level line?
I'm a level wind. Yep.
All of them are level line?
Every one of them.
Okay. Also, you mentioned a small bead, the size of a small bead.
So it's a 6mm bead. I actually sell them on our website. Wendell Nolan told me, just tell everybody 15% of people will actually listen and comprehend it. I did the video 4 years ago, almost 5 years ago. Our bead sales are about 10% of what they used to be. But at one time you just threw a bead on the hook and dynamite. And I'm gonna see, this group is the first one I've talked about it again. Wendell said, this is how I catch a lot of pompano. Just so you know, I put a mortician rig and I use a orange and a blue bead, which is in our number 18 pack. I had it made, and that just brings the color of the orange and the blue of the blue crab that they have on their, and the fish, the pompano see it and they love it. The other thing is why do I like a blue crab is I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm not a very good sand flea fisherman. How many people are good fishermen with sand flea? Anyone? Larry loves it. Commercial guys love it. I'm not very good at it. I get mad when they eat the eggs out of my sand flea, right? I'm like, I didn't even see it. Well, a blue crab, you don't get the meat until you put it in your mouth, and they have to crush it in the back of their jaws. They have to crush it to get the meat out. I don't miss a pompano, but if I put those beads on there, they still think there's meat there, so they keep chomping on it. So when you hook one with the beads, it's back here in the back of their neck. You never lip a big one. It's buried. You don't. So when I'm fishing beads, I'm not worried about horsing that fish in. That fish is coming in, especially with blue crab. That make more sense? It's 6 millimeter, and it just has to. They're hard to find now, but you can get them sometimes at Michael's. Michael's sold out of them, brought them back, then went out. Hobby Lobby sometimes has them, sometimes they don't. So, yes, sir.
Fish gum or fish bites, do you ever use them, or you just all?
This is a good debate. You asked the question, so I'm gonna tell you. I didn't bring this up. John, this is John. I was on the Fish Bites Pro staff for almost 7 years. And I don't know if they changed something, but I haven't been able to catch as many fish with it. So I started trying fish gum. It's good. So that's all I can really say. It's good. So try it.
I got it.
Did you have any luck on that I gave you?
I did not.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Yeah. It's more of a little bit warmer water bait, just so you know. I did catch a 17.5-inch pompano on it alone, and I know the guys down south swear by it, so I said, well, I'm gonna try it. And I started catching fish on it alone without tipping it. So I said, well, you know, Fish Bites is a local company. I want to support local, but I also want to be honest with the people that I tell, that I educate. So that's all I can tell you.
Good.
Yeah. So if you haven't, use it. So I'm a bait guy. I love fresh bait. So nothing's going to beat fresh bait. But OP bait soak, if you do have. Talking about fish gum, if you have OB bait, if you see the OB bait soak, anybody seen that? It's a really good product. If you have shrimp, it's gonna marinate your shrimp and make it taste like ghost shrimp. So if you don't want to go find ghost shrimp, that's your alternative just with shrimp. So you can just order it off his website. He ships really fast, very fast. And I ordered it it's coming from Navarre, Florida, so I got it in 2 days.
What was that, Jim?
OP bait soak by Fish Gum. OP bait soak.
What,
Overpowering something. What is it?
Overpowered.
Overpowered. Yeah. So you just put it on your shrimp. You cut your shrimp up, put it on there, and let it marinate and take them. It works really good.
any more questions?
I sponsor a lot of things. I've been gifted enough to be able to build a business where I can give to kids and give away a lot of stuff. So Kelly Metters at Connect Church is putting on a surf fishing tournament on April 25th. We would love you guys to be involved if you would. It's a charity that's going to go to the church has a Christian school. So it's all going to the Christian school. All the donations go directly there. All the other stuff, there's going to be a bunch of fundraisers, and it's not very far from here. So most of the time, all the tournaments, other than the club, are way, way south. You have to go clear down to Fish Bites, or you have to go somewhere else. But this will get a bunch of people up here, so it'll be a fun tournament. So Connect Church is just Airport Road, yeah. I'm trying to figure out where I was at here, so a little deeper in. So, any other questions?
All right, well, Chip will be here. You can hold the applause for me later.
He's gonna be here. Great merchandise. I've been to 20 of these seminars. He told me things, a lot of nuances I learned. just a lot here, so, great. Chip.
Sir?